So hello again everybody with TheBallBlog.com. So in this matchup we will be breaking down the 4th-seeded Clippers versus the 5th-seeded Blazers. LA has a 2-0 series lead as I speak tonight. So of course with the Clippers, these are their best players. We have Chris Paul, the superstar, Blake Griffin, just returning from injury now. He's returned from injury well. He's taken the next step. He can hit his free throws now. He's more than a dunker. 24 points, 9 rebounds per game. Very difficult to guard in the low post. Obviously, getting back to Chris Paul, great defender, great passer, and he can score. He puts up 18 points per game, but people only think of him for his passing. He can definitely score. He's still an elite point guard, even if Curry and probably Westbrook have surpassed him. And DeAndre Jordan, he cannot hit his free throws still. He also cannot really play offense, but damn, is he an amazing rebounder, leading the league in rebounds, leading the game in leading the league in field goal percentage, even though he hardly takes any shots, and also leading in block shots. Public opinion about him has went down after the whole Mavericks and opting out of that debacle, but still a good player and still a useful asset for them. And JJ Redick, great three-point shooter, and he's more than a three-point shooter now. He can put the ball on the floor, but nonetheless provides excellent spacing for the team. In game one, you had the stars show up. Portland really did not have a good answer for Blake Griffin, and that was tough for them. Griffin, again, just recovering from injury. The Clippers' best players definitely showed up. So, the Clippers bench also features some very solid scorers. Jamal Crawford, Jay Crossover, still, he can still score on his own, put the ball on the floor. Jeff Green, acquired from Memphis, that type of player. He can shoot. Wesley Johnson, Paul Pierce, a lot of depth here on the wing. Guys who almost redundant, but almost in a good way. Lucas Mbah-a-Moute, if I pronounced that right, he's been starting, but playing like 18-20 minutes per game. He's a good defender, okay rebounder, doesn't really do much else for them. Then Cole Aldrich. This is the main issue with the LA roster. Still, it's been the same issue for 3 years, is that they don't have good depth behind Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. Aldrich is okay, but he's after him, there's almost no other good Clipper big men, and it's not like he's an outstanding player himself, and especially with Blake Griffin's injury, that was tough. You had a lot of stretch forward there. And then, of course, Austin Rivers backing up Chris Paul, head coach Doc Rivers' son. We all know that. Rivers is a solid player. He can run the point in the second unit. So that's the Clippers. So Portland's going to need an answer for Blake Griffin. And Griffin, again, very difficult to guard because he's big, but he's also fast, and he also can dribble. We're thinking more traditional options like Ed Davis, like Noah Vonleh. It's not going to work. These guys are too slow. They cannot guard him on the perimeter, where Blake was working, and it definitely did not work in game one, where Blake overpowered them. Also Plumlee, that's an option, but again, these guys can't go out onto the perimeter, and Blake can just drop step them with these post moves and kind of just move past them. So too slow, a lot of these traditional big men to put on him. The other option is Mo Harkless, who head coach Terry Stotts likes putting on bigger guys. Harkless has a nice wingspan. It's like, I think 7 feet, even though he's only 6'8". But again, Blake's a huge imposing figure. And that's why Blake keeps racking up these rebounds. If you put Harkless on him, the best option is really probably Al-Farouq Aminu. Oh, yeah, sorry. Double teaming Blake's also not going to work. He's a great passer. So basically, he's just difficult to guard. He can just pass out of the double team. And again, if you double team, you're going to leave someone open. So the best option is probably Al-Farouq Aminu, who's undersized, but probably Portland's best defender. Again, they're going to have to give help, but they're also going to have to be careful not to just leave guys open, especially with the Clippers shooters that they have. It's a very difficult situation here, but if Aminu can do a lot, like he did in Game 2, limiting Blake to, I think, just 12 points it was. That could really slow down the Clippers' offense and force them to go to the pick and roll of Chris Paul and DeAndre Jordan, which isn't bad, but giving the ball to Blake in the low post would be much more dangerous. So, of course, the Blazers' source of offense is Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, one of the best backcourts in the league. Amazing stats. Lillard, he has Curry comparisons, of course. He doesn't like them, but not entirely invalid. Amazing three-point shooter. He can pass. He can score. Absolute superstar. Portland's lost 4/5 of their starting lineup this offseason. He's the only one who stayed. Wesley Matthews, Nicholas Batum, Robin Lopez, and of course LaMarcus Aldridge gone. But CJ McCollum really stepped up. Candidate for most improved player of the year. 21 points per game. These two guys are the offense for the Blazers. After that, you just have like a lot of complementary players, rebounders, defenders, three-point shooters, etc. Right, but DeAndre Jordan is going to be meeting them at the rim a lot, and that's what has been happening. So they're going to have to rely on their three-point shooting, on which they do very well. Both of them are excellent three-point shooters themselves. So ultimately, my pick really here is a gut call. Yes, the Clippers did win the first two games, and rather convincingly, especially in Game 2. But the series now shifts to Portland. They'll get some home games. McCollum has not really been playing well in this series, which has been tough. But I was very encouraged by the limiting of Blake Griffin in Game 2. Yes, Chris Paul goes off, and yes, he sometimes did that, and that's why Clippers won Game 2. But in Game 1, Gerald Henderson stepped up for Portland. In Game 2, Plumlee stepped up for them. Lillard's been playing pretty well. Again, this is a total gut call, but this is just a young, emerging team, and they're easy to get behind, and I could be completely humiliated by this, and the Clippers just sweep this series. But I really do think, ultimately, that Portland will take this series in 7. Yes, of course, Gerald Henderson, Allen Crabbe. Yes. So Portland in 7. That's my pick. It's a gut call. So yeah, comment, tell me what you guys think. TheBallBlog.com.